Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see by the title of the video, the penny stocks are booming this morning. There has been a lot of movement. So what we're going to be doing is covering pretty much all of those. We'll be talking about AMC and all of the other stocks here this morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Give me a second. One sec, guys. Okay, go to here. All right, awesome. Back on. There we go. Good morning, everybody. All right, so we'll pretty much start with some of the popular. I'm just going to run through all the popular ones really quickly. So right now, the stock IGC has been on a run. So we'll go peek at the 1 minute chart here on this. So as you guys can see, clearly the stock IGC has had a fantastic morning and it's running up. So far, it's just held really well all morning. It's been very strong. Now, if we look at the long-term chart, let me delete my drawings because I'm kind of confusing my own self. So right now, IGC penny stock, I think it has some news this morning, but nonetheless, the stock has already exploded. This red box is kind of your overbought area on... Oh, hold on. So pretty much the prices from 323 to 286 are defined as pretty overbought right now on IGC. All right. You will notice that past and or previous price action resistance has highs of 370 to this high here of 450. So when we go look at the 1 minute chart, you will see that we are currently trading at the previous high of 370 and it's hesitating. And we still have maybe a move up to that 450. So nonetheless, I think there is a bearish move that's trying to start here because we're on the previous high. And if you look at the volume, the highest volume spike on the day just happened at 8:24 a.m., which was at the high of 389. And it was the highest volume spike of the day and it turned red. So currently, the highest volume spike this morning pre-market on IGC was at 8:24, 8:25 a.m., and it was a red volume spike. So arguably that might signal it's trying to top here, but we've also seen it trade and try to go down multiple times, and it hasn't. So nonetheless, I would be too scared to short this right now because it's not really on deviation resistance. It's just previous price action resistance. So I do believe you can see IGC higher, and you might be trying to target to 450 next. Now, I'm not as confident with my price targets right now on IGC because IGC has already broken out of all of its long-term levels, which are generally going to be easier to give you some sort of guidance. Now that we've exceeded all of those statistical levels, it gets much harder to predict exactly how this wants to move, but we do know that the stock is overbought nonetheless. So again, just going to mention, stay more on the long side of IGC for right now, but when and in fact it does come down, it should have price targets back to like this red box. So if it goes all the way to say, let's just say it went to $10, it would still have a correction price back down to like the $3 to $4 area. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is IGC for you guys today. WISA is another one that we kind of looked at. So anyways, WISA broke up, hit resistance around 589. If you're watching this it might turn into a decent mover today or have another move. But if it does, we're only looking for a max price on WISA up to 650 today. But just note that there's a lot of resistance that it's going to have to get through in order to even go to 650. So in the short term, in order for this to turn into a good long price, the market needs to get WISA back up and above 535 for right now. All right, next one on the list we'll talk about is Neuro. So Neuro was literally the title of our video yesterday. Ironically, the stream only gets 1. Sometimes it's impressive. I mean, Sunday night we made the video. Well, no, that was a different one. But anyways, yesterday, it's funny. The stream gets like 1.4K views, but we mentioned Neuro. The title of yesterday's video was Neuro Multi-Day Runner, be long bias Neuro. Ideally, you're just looking for a move through the pre-market high. We gave a max price target yesterday of 25. You can see this box is still on my chart here. This was our max long target / recommendation during pre-market, because during pre-market, that's about as high as the market offered. Once the market opened and squeezed up to this price, then it just broke out even more. So we were only really looking to get Neuro up to 25. It ended up breaking up all the way to 38. So that's cool. So what's going to happen with Neuro today? Honestly, I have no idea. Like I said, we're already above all of our long-term levels. So once that happens, it becomes a lot harder for me to make predictions accurately as to what's going to happen. So now that we've already broken out of all the long-term levels on the stock Neuro, like I said, harder to give price predictions. But nonetheless, when Neuro actually does crash and it does fully correct, the price target on the downside is going to be all the way back to $11.52 to $13.30 so pretty much put it this way. This is the target price for the downside correction on the stock. So let me just redo that. It's like from there to there. So anywhere from call it like 1350 to 870 is going to be your correction price. So when the stock fully gets smoked, it's going to come back down to this price. Pretty much where you could see where it broke out here. That's where we're going to come back down to. So I do think you still try to follow Neuro long bias today. I just don't quite think it's ready to come down. It's holding pre-market okay. You will also notice they reported earnings today, so that could also provide additional volatility. The only thing I will mention for this is that maybe you look for a pre-market high breakout again on this to try to fill the gap price from yesterday. If you look at the 1-minute chart from yesterday's trading action, you will see that there is in fact a gap in the chart from yesterday's trading session, and the gap in the chart exists from the price of $33.50 to like 29 to like $30. So it's like from 30 to 33.50 there is a gap in the chart. So arguably the market on Neuro might be trying to come back up and fill the gap to 33 because gaps in charts like to get filled. So for now, the recommendation would be watch for maybe a pre-market high breakout in Neuro to fill the gap from yesterday up to 33.50. Okay. Whew. You look tired. Yeah, I'm always tired. I usually don't sleep the greatest. And then also, you wouldn't believe it or not, but doing live trading and live analysis and breakdown is a very strenuous job, believe it or not. And then I also stare at computer screens every single day of my life, all day. So that probably doesn't help. Which I'm not wearing my Blu-ray blocker glasses right now either. Alrighty, there's a couple other ones that obviously have been moving this morning, but I'm going to take a second to start running through some of the stocks that you guys are mentioning, and I'm going to try to basically do them as quick as I can. BNGO, we'll talk about BNGO. I mean, I don't even have to look at it. I already know what it's doing. BNGO, well, actually, because I follow it, but I'm going to go to BNGO, and this is what I'm going to tell you. BNGO dropped down to -1 deviations. As we mentioned, it probably would, and then it started to bounce. I don't know where the price is currently at, but if we go look at the chart, you're going to see BNGO drop down to the -1 deviation market and started to bounce. So if we go to the daily chart, daily chart's not the right one. It's a 4-hour chart. So we go to the 4-hour chart. Oh, 4-hour chart and daily chart, sorry. So you can see we have -1 deviation here on the 4-hour chart, and if you look at the daily chart, you have the -1 deviation trend right there, and you can see the 2 red lines on my chart. You see those 2 red lines on my chart? For those that tune into the stream every day, you know wherever there's 2 red lines in the chart, that's either my resistance or that's my buy price, right? And so you can see that BNGO came where? Right to my 2 kind of red lines, and we started to bounce. So let's say that this is truly meant to bounce or meant to gain momentum and come back up. We should be seeing price targets of $7.31 to $7.31 to $7. So new price targets on the way back up for BNGO are $7 to $7.31. And when I say price targets, I mean, it's not that I'm saying it's going to go there, but what I mean is that is what I recognize as the true legitimate resistance in the market. So if that's the true legitimate resistance in the market, then we probably wouldn't, right? If that's correct, we wouldn't see any big dramatic selling pressure until we're actually on resistance. And if you don't get a bunch of selling pressure until you're on resistance, any selling prior most likely get bought until you hit resistance. Thumbs up. So I don't actually know if that's going to happen. It's kind of wishy-washy to me right now. So anyways, BNGO, I'm still kind of long bias candidate. Like I said, if you look at the long-term charts, we're still -1 deviations away from the mean. So theoretically, it's still on sale. It's still value. So unless there's anything about the stock that I don't know, something bad happens, people want to keep selling it, as long as we're staying over the -1 deviation zone, I'll be bullish. And if we start to break down, then the game plan is going to change. But as long as we're staying above this previous low and the -1 deviation mark, we should be fine and not too much more price decrease on BNGO. CCIV still below the mean, but it looks like it's downtrending, coming from the 100 and the 50 moving average and the 9-day moving average coming down. Basically, you're looking for a price target on CCIV today. Not necessarily today, because we already did it yesterday. But if we zoom in a little bit, I mean, you'll see yesterday CCIV rolls down to the half deviation price, so it held the half deviation price as support yesterday. Pre-market, it's down a little bit, so you'd be looking for maybe CCIV to come down below the price of $22.95. That's what the bears are looking for. I kind of think it's bearish, so I'd imagine you're going to continue to see CCIV going lower. Look at this. Ready? Let me delete these drawings. Let me go back. I mean, it's just miraculous how well this works, you know. And this is part of the reason why I'm going to just start doing live analysis to YouTube. It's not necessarily that I'm going to be live trading all the time. That's really not my main goal of this, but I will be, like I said, moving to YouTube in the future more so, and I'm going to be doing, you know, live analysis on the charts, you know, through market opens and things like that, and so that I can help everybody see these things in real time. And it's not necessarily that you have to trade it, that I'm going to trade it, that you should trade it, but that way you can start picking up this in real time, because it is still hard to do no matter what. And, you know, just by me coming on and making a video and say, hey, these are the levels, you know, markets are still tricky. It's hard to see things in real time. So, like, look at this bounce yesterday, right? So for a new trader coming into the market, a new investor coming into the market, they see CCIV is just going straight down yesterday, like, oh my fucking, what's going on? And then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, and then it bounces back. It's like, well, how do you predict that bounce? Where is that bounce going to happen? Most oftentimes, we'll say 85 to 90% of the time, all of the significant reversals, tops, bottoms, and breakouts all happen at a deviation price. You can basically forget about previous price resistance, this from that. I mean, it literally almost every single day, your stock, whatever it is, your currency, your cryptocurrency, it doesn't matter. It is normally trading around a deviation almost like 80 to 90% of the time every single day. So when we do the analysis and we look back at CCIV, this bottom guaranteed was at a deviation. Okay, so let's look at the daily chart first. All right, so if we zoom in on the daily chart doesn't have it. The daily chart has a deviation up here at the price of like 24. So the price at 24 probably ended up being like a consolidation and a snap point, okay? So, and then we go to the 4-hour chart. Now the 4-hour chart we already looked at, so we already know, but if we look at the 4-hour chart, look at that dotted line. Dotted line, dotted line, dotted line, dotted line. We'll just, and it could have been a slightly different yesterday, but it's good enough for now, right there. Go look at the 1-minute chart. We'll start with the top line. Look at the top line. What's the top line? The break point. See that? Ready? Like we're kind of holding-ish, and then it rolls over, and then it really picks up. You could say it started picking up when it went through this support, but it really didn't pick up until it went through the red line, right? It was already falling down, but the big move really didn't pick up until you went through the red line here. And then we go through the red line. Where did it go to next? My next red line, and then it bounced. Okay? So like so let's look at like a 1-minute chart. Let's look at a 5-day 15-minute chart. So like yesterday on this drop, you could have been like, oh, but it could hold support over this dip from yesterday, right? Oh, it's going to hold support over the previous high kind of breakout level from yesterday. Oh, it's going to hold support over this dip here, right? Oh, it's supposed to hold support on this bottom here. Oh, it's supposed to hold support at this bottom. Oh, what about this bottom? So every time you're looking left on the chart using previous price action to try to determine one of your bottoms, I'm just looking at maybe my 4-hour and or my daily chart and figuring out where the long-term statistical levels are at, and that's most likely where the market will go to, and that's where most likely the markets will bounce. And you will see, in fact, that is exactly where all the momentum comes in and the volume. Look at the volume. Right when you get to those red lines, look what happens to the volume. Instantly goes to buying. Who do you think's buying there? Do you think it's someone on Robinhood buying? No. That's like Citadel, JP Morgan, Bank of America, market makers, smarter traders, computerized algorithms, institutions, hedge funds, and so on. So anyways, your Robinhooders aren't the ones pushing 392,000 shares of volume in a minute. Some of them are, but not all of them, right? So anyways, that's CCIV. So I'm bearish CCIV, sort of ish. I don't really care for it too much. One stock gaps up or down, does it retrace to the area gaps over, if that makes sense? Generally, let me rephrase this. Almost 100% of the time, every gap that's created in the market will end up getting filled at some point in the future. That could be a day later, 2 weeks later, 3 years later, etc. A good example of this would be on Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin has a gap to fill on its market down to here, right? That gap was created back December, right? So this gap was here in December. We're almost into August, and it still hasn't gotten filled. And it might get filled soon, right? We could be coming down to fill it this time around, so it could have taken, 6, 7, 8 months or whatever it has been to come down and fill that gap. So that's probably the best way I can answer that question, because there's no rhyme or reason to exactly how quick those will happen or when it's going to come back down and fill its gap. You want to send me a box of wine? Absolutely, as long as it's Cabernet. I love that stuff. So hell yeah, my friend. Mr. Montero, you're the one who sent me an email, right? You should have my email. Email me, and then I'll email you where you can send it, because I love wine and my fiance loves wine. So that's I'll take that. Word have a free future? I don't know what I'm saying. Did we review IGC? We did review IGC, the truth. You're just going to have to go back into the beginning of this video. I've been studying stock. I've been investing since I was 18 years old. Am I the world's greatest investor? Absolutely not. A lot of the money I've made is just by sitting in long-term positions, literally. From day trading, most of the money I've made has not come from day trading. A lot of the income I've made has come from YouTube, trading, affiliate commission, and long-term investing. So like even my long-term accounts have done well. And that's just from starting at 18 and just putting money in and 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 keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And eventually I'm like, well, let me see if I can learn a little bit more about the market as opposed to just sitting and doing long-term investing. And I'm like, okay, I like trading and trading school. So I started learning trading. I was able to make a little money doing that. And then it just kind of developed into its whole new thing. And then I found myself on YouTube. And then here we are 5-7 years later. And so I would say one thing that trading has helped with is actually into long-term investing, because all these things that you learn from looking at short-term market movements ends up helping you better analyze stuff in the long term, right? Like the tools that I'm using to find where things are going to move, can, like, for example, I keep trying to explain this, but it's not working well. But here's a good example. You guys will remember the video I just posted on the market about the NASDAQ, and I'm like, this is the buy point right there. That's what I'm talking about. So I didn't learn how to do any of the things that I'm currently showing you by trying to just kind of stick with long-term investing. I only learned this by trying to figure out how to do short-term trading. And in doing so, what I've learned from trying to do short-term trading has actually helped me identify how to better long-term invest as well, because the buy points that work for good day trades end up being the ideal buy points a lot of times for long-term investing. So like unknowingly, it's kind of gone hand in hand a little bit. So anyways, I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole at this point, but yeah, sorry. Put some respect on my shit coins. I love it. Yeah, I was like, what is work? All right. I am 27, going on 28. I will take a look at AMC here. Give me just a second. Okay. Does anybody here, would anybody in the chat room like to give Connor, that's this guy, that's me, would anybody like to give me a semi golf clap? Just a semi golf clap, not a full golf clap, for AMC price prediction. We did tell you the price targets were $47 to $48 within about maybe like a day or so. I gotta say, I was wrong. I'm sorry. It only hit $46.55. So we were off the price target by 45 cents to $1.45, because the price target was like 47-ish to 48. So we were off by like $1.45 entirely. On the low side, 45 cents. So I'm sorry. I apologize. I did the best I could. I apologize. So anyways, that being said, AM McSizzle. So what's happened with AM McSizzle? So AM McSizzle, we said that you should be long the other day down here. Your first price target was 39. Once we crossed through 39, we gave you an at most, remember, at most price target of 47 to 48. We got the 46.45. The market is sold off. The market has currently sold off back down to, remember what I told you yesterday. I said either the market sells down to the white line or it gets held and it pushes up towards 47. And now look at where we're at this morning, back at the white line. So currently the market on AMC has pulled back to a small little dip support level. All right. Let me check my daily chart too. So in other words, AMC hit resistance yesterday. It pulled back yesterday and it sold all the way down to pretty much its support level. When we look at this, ready? When I change, this is what you have. Look, use your brains. You must use the brain. When we go back and look at a 5-day chart, look, you can't see it right now, but look at where those two red lines are at. Okay, look at where the market's starting to hold this morning. Watch what happens when we change this to like a 5-day, 1-minute time frame. Oh, that doesn't look right yet. I have to extend these levels to the left, and then it will look right. Hold on. Extend left, and extend left. The market is starting to bounce this morning, pretty much where the market broke out the other day. The price target we gave you, the price target we gave you this day was 39 to 38. It went to 39.38, then it broke out 39.38, and now we've dropped back down to where? 39. Well, it's really 40 because the prices have adjusted a little bit. But the same price target we gave you for the breakout, or the target and then the breakout on whatever day that was, it's still the same exact price level. It's still the statistical mean. It's still the statistical trend. Hence why you're seeing it back down. So now when we go back, so think about it, right? Now when we go back and look at like the 4 hour of the daily chart, ready? So we zoom in. The other day we said watch AMC long to the red level because that's where that white trend line's at. So it goes long to that level. In the middle of the day, it breaks it out, hits resistance, then it pulls back to that same trend line. You don't even have to look at previous price action anymore. You don't have to think whether or not the price is going to go to the wick or to the body of the top or the body of the bottom. Just look for the statistical trend and you'll be just fine. Okay. So what's the analysis for today on AMC? Pretty much the analysis for today on AMC is nothing. I mean, maybe you get a slight long. I feel like it's going to be either bearish to like an inside choppier day. Pretty much your support is right here at $40 and $39.66. So if AMC is going to continue going higher in the near-term future, AMC will continue and remain to stay above the long-term statistical mean support, which for today is at $40 and $39.66. And it's 9 o'clock, so I gotta go. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button, hit the notification bell. I will see you guys back tomorrow morning for Friday, and then beginning September 1st, I am hoping, that's a tentative date, but I'm hoping to be onto YouTube longer and more often. The gap finder system is on the chart. I run them both, yes, at the same time. All right, guys, with that being said, everybody take care. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you back tomorrow morning.